So, Hassan Abdul Ali Mohammed, you are the GM of Surface Delivery at Oman Data Park, and you will be speaking about the use of AI in oil and gas at COMEX AI. Of course, Hassan, we're very excited to have you with us because of your background and experience of AI in different sectors. So please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in AI in all these different sectors?
Well, thank you very much. Actually, we started in field of cloud initially. Okay, so
Yeah.
Oman Data Park is a cloud service provider. So our journey started with the cloud. We have grown from the initial co-location to infrastructure as a service. Then we go on platform as a service. Then we have gone to the level of software as a service, and finally it's called HPC, which is high performance computing environment, and AI is part of it, a subsidiary of the HPC. So this journey was in consequences of the business cases which is developed around, and now we are at the stage of AI mainly. So proudly we can say Oman Data Park, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that we have achieved with our first milestone of setting the ground HPC environment, which is running on GPU, TPU, and DPU, which is graphical processing unit and data processing unit in TensorFlow processing unit. So these are the major power which is going to give the AI to run all the big data and IoT, and which is the 5G technologies together.
That's really great to hear that, and that you've been involved in all these different areas. AI is a broad topic. It's still a new technology, but already it's being implemented and is adding a lot of values and solutions to all types of companies and government sector. Can you tell us? Can you give us some examples that you've been involved in where value has been provided through the use of AI?
Yeah, I mean, there are many use cases of AI. Each sector can get value of AI, but if you try to understand what is an AI, it is based on high performance computing and have to have a lot of data. So by having a lot of data, you can utilize the power of computations, okay, which is today, right now, we have Intel and AMD and even ARM now coming up on board, which is giving a lot of power in order to process this data. So data generation is happening a lot through the social media and IoT devices. Now, each sector can use this data to solve a problem. So for example, let me give an example. Some of the use cases can be given in oil and gas and energy, how I can use the data which I have to bring more efficiency in the productions, for example, okay? Can I do a lot of soil test, for example, in fast manner? In healthcare, for example, MRI scanning, usually doctor takes 4 to 6 hours manually to scan the MRI. But in HPC and AI, you can do it less than a minute, okay? So you can push 1,000 of MRI to the AI, what's called application, and the scanning can come with a report in very fast manner. And as well as that, we have to understand there are a lot of use cases around each sector, as I told you. In banking also, for example, banks using JD Morgan is, for example, an application which is used to scan 1,000, perhaps million of legal documents to bring some kind of advice to the leaders, and also loan processing, for example, chatbot. Now today we're using virtual assistants, virtual nursing. There are many applications around. Some of them we're using it on daily basis, but we don't see it. Yes. We don't feel it. It's already part of your, for example, if you put some kind of messages in tweet, that's kind of playing a politics, you will be completely disconnected, okay? Yeah. Amazon, for example, is looking your behavior of purchase and how you do your purchasing, and they give you an assistance. Netflix, for example, they're giving a personalized movie. So there are many of daily basis. Yeah. But what you need to know is most important, how to use the data which is with you, with the HPC, to bring problems in a very fast manner to get solved. That's the whole underground. That the underlying message is this: use your data effectively with very high performance environment in order to solve the problems. So oil and gas, as I told you, this is one of them use cases. So generally, I can say this is mainly the very high level use cases within each sectors. But energy, as I told you, for example, soil test also. Okay, even they can use it for maintenance. You know, there is some kind of small helicopters with cameras, IoT devices,
Yeah.
and it goes on top of these bridges, and they scan which part is being damaged, and they immediately goes and rectify it. But if you go in manual way, it's going to take ages. It takes a lot of time. So that's one of them, and
Yeah.
also. And by the way, the good of AI is a learning process, a learning curve, which is happening within the process. So legacy application is coming out of the life, is coming the end. So computer reprogram themselves in a way more. Actually, AI is nothing but mimic the human brains, how they behave. So it's a neural network which is around your brain. So the same is applied in the AI. So AI is trying to build a very complex logic and algorithm to facilitate you to act like a human. So for example, if I show you a picture, for example, facial, for example.
Yes.
Let's say if I put a picture in front of the camera and then immediately it's going to message, this is a dog, okay? Or
Yes.
this is a cat, or this is, so how he knows about this? Because it is being trained. So with this big data, you have to train it. You have to train the computers in order to give you feed him a data and put him a kind of logical process, and it will come in and try to predict what is this. So you train him, this picture is dog, this picture is cat, and over the time, you feed him million of pictures of dogs and cats, and he can segregate them easily. You know? So
Yes.
likewise, so there are many business cases around here.
Thank you for that. That's very interesting to hear all the different types of business cases. And I think AI has many multiple applications. And like you mentioned, data is very important because data goes hand in hand with AI. And I think in oil and gas, for example, AI can help to minimize the downtime because it uses predictive maintenance for oil and gas equipment. It can help, I think, with understanding and modeling for predicting, for example, oil corrosion to reduce maintenance costs. Can you tell us some of the key themes and topics that you'll be covering during your session?
Yeah, I will be mainly try to drive the session from the perspective to let people to understand what is the AI and how to use it. Okay, they know the problem better than us, but
Yes.
we're providing them the tools, we're providing them the environment, the platforms. Okay, we're providing them a model that they can consume the power of HPC.
Yes.
And then they have a lot of data. So I have a technologies around, and you have the data, and you know your problems. So let's compile these three in order to solve a problem. So for example, as I told you in energy, I can bring the efficiency, how I can reduce the cost. For example, I can look to the detection, for example, of the damage, containers, for example. There's a lot of OCR facilities are there. CCTV cameras are around, real-time damage detection, operation optimization. So many, and especially in the fields of oil and gas, which is production, safety, for example, and security. So for example, someone have a helmet or not on his head,
Yes.
the camera can scan and immediately can alert. This is a lot of models you can build around. I'm not limiting it to one, but I'm limiting that the sample of it. I mean, saying this is the way that you can use it. Soil test, for example. Soil test is a lot of soil tests. You can analyze and detect the soil test, and fuel, for example, location. There's a lot of like complex algorithm process which is happening on legacy application. If you put this into an HPC, it goes and it cuts a lot of time. So some of the articles I was reading, they are cutting 10 years into an hours.
Wow.
10 years cycle of processing is being chopped into an hour. Imagine. So this is the beauty of HPC. Now, I don't agree with anyone he's saying, I don't have data. Everyone have a data, especially this oil and gas. Have a lot of data. Energy have a lot of data. Banks have a lot of data. Telecom have a lot of data. Now, they have to utilize the power of this data using the fast technology, which is HPC and AI. So AI is mainly running on HPC, and HPC is breaking down. It's a normal CPU and GPU, which is graphical processing unit, which is giving a parallel processing, and then it's giving a TensorFlow, which is a kind of AI like neutral processing, and then DPU, which is data processing. So all of these right now, you can cut. For example, you can have 20 racks of normal legacy compute is in one rack, for example, and faster. Imagine. So you can do that. So hardware-wise, you chopped it down. Power, of course, you have reduced, and data processing is higher. So here is the value added. Now, I strongly recommend that these data have to be customized and engineered through the HPC and AI to give a real problem solving. So this is what we are trying to do as an Oman Data Park.
Well, we're very excited to have you and to listen to you and to learn from you, Hassan. Can you tell us why you're excited to be part of the COMEX AI conference?
Well, I love to add value somewhere in my country, okay? And this is the opportunity to, if we're doing it for outside the Oman, so why are we not doing it for our country, of course? And the most important is COMEX, we have to put our maximum effort. Every sector of the IT in our Oman have to add some value to the COMEX. So COMEX is for us is a showcase for of Oman to other GCC as well, maybe other countries as well.
Correct.
So we open the door to enter into our market as well.
Thank you, Hassan. We look forward to seeing you at COMEX AI.
Thank you.